If you'd like to sponsor Still Got Game, give us a call at 773-527-2961 or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. Hey now, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still Got Game episode 553. Still Got Game's official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
I'm Brian Shadow Emmerich.
Hey, where's Selden?
I think we're Seldenless.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do? Yeah, he likes being outside.
Probably hanging out with a bunch of little boys. Who knows?
He loves being outside. I don't know why.
Yep.
He likes enjoying the Mother Nature and all that.
Yeah. No, I was outside for a few minutes and it was pretty fucking hot. So yeah.
The graphics were awful.
Yes, exactly. They didn't look realistic in the remotest.
No,
so yes,
not at all.
So it's just the two of us. Usually that ends up being a shorter show, so we apologize. And if you want to blame someone in the comments next week, it was Selden's fault. So
it's my fault. I don't know.
It was definitely Selden's
fault.
So why don't we just jump into the show proper? We'll hit the mailbag for feedback and questions from our last episode. And remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. B Walrus 89 comments. Great episodes lately, but I have a feeling they are going to be sparse during the summer based on previous years. Either way, keep up the great shows.
Well, I mean, I think we've been doing pretty good. We had a couple
every other week there. Kind of things, but
yeah, I mean, so far, and I think we'll do pretty good for the rest of the summer, as far as I'm concerned. But it'll just depend on everyone's availability. So if we can at least get two people. Yeah, if we can get two people, including one of them being Dare.
Okay. Yes, it's kind of the gate that screws everything up. But yes, because no one else wants to edit or probably knows what I do. So yes, yeah.
Also true. So, but thank you very much, B Walrus. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, to tag up on this question, do you have any vacations coming up?
No, not on Mondays.
All right, good.
Then, we're going out of town for family reunion, but we'll be back on Sunday, and nothing that should impede on that, I don't believe. So, I'm good.
And at some point, I sent you my entire summer schedule, so I'm not sure. I think we've passed that now. We've reached the July 7th. We're back to normal, so.
Yeah, I think so. I put all the dates that we might have shows in my phone. So, I mean, I think we're pretty good until September. So at least every other week, I think we're good, and maybe even more than that. So we'll see.
Yep. All right. Next up, Fried RROD comments. No, asks.
Oh, no. Red Ring of Death.
Oh, I didn't even get that. Yeah, Fried Red Ring of Death asks. How have you guys been enjoying your Switch 2 content since launch? I know Selden 007 and Shadow have them, but their initial comments seemed lackluster.
Well, you also have one now too, don't you?
I have added one. Yes, yeah.
And it's collecting dust nicely on that shelf over there.
It's not yet collecting dust. It was even used today. And it's
whoa.
I still have not hooked its dock up to the TV. It's sitting in its dock charging over there. But I got it the day before we left on vacation. So there wasn't a whole lot of time to rewire everything, and I'm not sure if the power supply, it'd be ideal if I could just yank out the old Switch dock and put this in instead with that power supply, but I'm not sure they're the same. No.
They are. It uses more power.
Okay, yeah. So I do have to make some major plug changes. So
it is nice that it uses a brick that you can plug a USB-C into, so then you can make the cable as long as you want, which is nice. The old one was just like a power plug, and you had to get their power plug and their cable with it, and otherwise you just had to extend it. But now you can put whatever you want in there for the cable length if you want to make it shorter for certain runs or longer or whatever. So
that was kind of a pain in the ass when I set it up, though, because so the other two power bricks from the other two switches are actually wired into an entertainment center connected to those two switches inside. So
Yeah.
when I went to set this up and do the transfer, it's like, oh, you need to have power in the old Switch. And there is a way that if you swap it the correct order, it let me do the transfer with only having one power cable. Um, just starting certain part of the process, then swapping to the other one, starting that process, then going back to the other one, and but it was much easier than me trying to pull out one of those bricks on the last day before vacation. So,
All right. All
but
right.
yeah,
W-
you know, every day is a school day, kids. You learn something. You can use just the brick that comes with it to move it if you have to. So,
Yeah. I was a little disappointed because originally I thought that the old or I'm sorry, I originally thought that the new dock would also dock the old Switch. It
yeah.
doesn't. So you have to have a dock for each for the Switch 1 and for the Switch 2 if you want to keep the Switch
Aren't we
1,
just going to
which
throw our Switch runs in the trash?
I mean my daughter's using my old Switch 1, but
Yeah,
if she wasn't using it, I'd get rid of it probably. So
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'm so far so good. It's making my old games that I kind of have put on the back burner look a lot better and run a lot better. Mario Kart's great. I did blow through a lot of that already, and it's just fun with people, but I haven't really gotten too much into the online stuff because I've just been busy with other things. But I've been actually going back to play the old stuff that I had kind of postponed for a while because I was busy or because my kids were using the one Switch we had. So, Mario RPG, well, we'll talk about stuff later, but I've been playing old stuff and it runs great. So
Yeah.
I'm
Now you
happy
had a
with
lot.
it,
You
but
had a lot more games than I did. So did a lot of yours
yeah.
transfer over?
You transfer how? I mean, they all work.
Oh, they do all work. Okay, I
Yeah, they
wasn't
all
sure.
work.
Okay, yeah, because
Yeah.
I thought I was just lucky and had those same 6 games I had that transferred over. So yes, yeah.
Yeah, they all work. There's only like one game that won't work. I think it's Wii Fit or I'm not Wii Fit. Something that uses peripherals doesn't work, but otherwise I think everything works.
Oh, okay,
Some games had issues on the Switch 2, and so they pulled them from the market so you couldn't buy them for the Switch 2 until they fixed them, but I think those issues have been
okay, yeah,
resolved. There was only a very small amount.
okay, yeah. I knew
Um,
we had a story about that, but I wasn't sure what the quantity of those games was. But I know you probably have
not
a
yeah.
shitload of Switch games. So
We have quite a few, but all of them have worked so far, so
nice.
yeah, no issues there, and everything looks good. And yeah, I've been actually turning it on a lot more because it's always permanently docked to my basement on my big screen, and I don't have to share it with anybody, so I can just like pick up from where I left off, whatever game. It's much nicer, so I'm actually playing it a lot more than I was before. So,
Not switching
Selden, we don't
profiles.
know.
Yeah,
No, so I don't even have anybody else's profile on there, I think. I think it's just mine.
yeah, because you just pick the one profile when you do the transfer. Yep, yep.
Yeah, well, so I didn't actually transfer it over because my daughter was going to keep some of the games in her profile on there. So I just like
Uh,
deleted everything I didn't want to have on her Switch and then just deleted my profile's still on hers, but whatever. And then yeah, I'll put it on my son's and on mine. But what's nice is if you only have the one profile, you can just say skip the sign because normally you have to pick a person.
oh, yep,
But if
yep,
you only
yep.
have one profile, you don't have to do that. You can just say
Just yeah,
skip that.
yep, yep. That's
So,
what I do. So yeah, nice.
Selden, we don't know. Have you heard anything from him on Switch games? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I think in our last episode, I thought both of you were like, "Yeah, it's good, but there's not a lot of games yet," or something
Yeah,
like that. But yes, yeah.
yeah. There's
So
not. I mean, the Donkey Kong one coming out looks like it's gonna be good. It's made by the people who did Super Mario Odyssey. But
okay.
how about you? Have you tried anything yet at all?
I obviously I tried Mario Kart because I bought the bundle. And I
Yeah.
didn't even realize I owned Super Mario RPG. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I own that somehow.
You just
Uh,
randomly own it?
yeah, because when I did my transfer, I had it, and I was like, I don't remember buying that, but I got
Did
that.
you maybe get it for like a preview or something? I don't know. Did they
Oh,
send
like
you
maybe
codes
a
for that?
code that could have been the case. Yeah, because
Maybe. I mean, because it's like a $60 or $70 game. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't have
maybe
bought
it's
that
60. No.
for a device I don't use. Yeah, I never would have bought
Yeah,
that.
unless you
So
got it for one of your kids or something. I don't know.
no,
But
probably wouldn't have.
no.
No, no, because they have their own profiles and stuff and their own switches. So
Yeah.
or at
Cool.
least the
Nice.
other two. So yeah. I haven't had a problem with it yet. It seems a lot snappier than the old Switch. I still don't anticipate myself using it a whole hell of a lot, but
Well, you got
uh,
your Rock Ally, so
yes, yeah, that came
you
on
could use
vacation
that.
with me. I played some Call of Duty on it.
Nice.
Yeah,
You
it
got to
was
get those levels up, so you
yes,
know.
exactly. It's not going to happen itself. So,
No,
uh,
it's not.
but yeah,
What
it was
what
not going to happen itself. So,
no,
uh,
it's not.
yeah, it
What
was.
do you think about the new controllers and the magnets and everything? Like, what do you think about that?
They definitely seemed a lot more secure, a lot less janky.
Hmm.
I didn't put the straps on, which I guess go between
No.
the controllers and the body, but I did look in the little screen that was like, "This is how you do it," and I was like, "Why would I want to do that?" Like,
It's no, it's I mean, you don't have them on the system. It's just for when you want to use them as like mice, or if you just want to have a strap to have, because the old ones you had a strap that you was on that little piece you slid into it if you wanted to have like the bigger buttons if you held them sideways, and then they had a
that's right.
strap.
Yes, yep, yep, yep.
And now those ones do give you, I think, bigger buttons possibly, but they make it so that you can slide it easier if you're using it as a mouse, and also you can have a strap if you want to not worry about it. But yeah, you don't put them on there when it's on the
When
system.
on the system, okay.
No, the screen I thought was, I mean, coming from the original one, I'd never had no LED. The screen is huge, I think. I mean,
Mhm.
it's big. I don't know how big the Ally is, but
The Ally
it seemed
is
big.
it's maybe a little smaller than that, but it's definitely more girthy and heavier,
Yeah,
and it feels better in your hands. Like it has like the contoured back grips
sure.
and all that. Like, but that's not what this is made for. This is made for smaller hands, and uh,
Well, and it's made for taking off the controllers, and the
that
ROG
too.
Ally is
Yes,
all
yep,
one piece.
yes,
So,
yep, yep.
but you can get cases and molds and stuff that you can put on the controllers and on the system to make it more like that, more like a big
Okay,
kind of big hand grippy.
like
But
get the grip
I will,
there, and yeah.
yeah, but I will probably never use it as a handheld often. So
That's
I
probably
don't
the
know.
only way I'm ever gonna use it. Is as a handheld. Like,
Yeah. You would think, I mean, it makes sense that I would use it that way because, hey, that's cool that you can just take it on a trip. But when I'm on a trip, I'm probably not gonna be playing games. I'm just gonna be on the trip. I don't know.
tell that
If
to
I'm
my
hanging
in-laws
out,
and family that I was like, yeah, you guys are all taking a nap. Boom, Call of
yeah,
Duty. Yeah.
yeah, that's true. I mean, but I don't know. I'm usually just on my laptop or something, surfing the web or whatever.
So you're just as
It,
rude, just in a different way.
yeah. Well, if
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
all on like reading a book or something, I'll be like, "All right, I'm doing this."
Doing
So,
my own thing. Yes, yeah.
yep.
Yeah, that was my thing.
Yeah, I might bring it
Everyone's on a
with me
Kindle or everyone's napping. You do your
on a
thing. Yes.
Kindle.
Yep.
Exactly. I might do my own thing, or I might bring my Switch too, but then it'll just kind of sit there and I won't think to take it out. My son brought his, and when we went to my in-laws this past weekend, and he and my daughter and their two cousins, they all played Mario Kart and other stuff on the big screen. They brought the dock, and that was great for them, but I didn't need to play. So
Seems like a pain in the ass
anyway,
to bring the dock, but yeah.
nah, it was fine. Just brought a HDMI cable plug, boom, easy. Anyway, so yeah, so far so good, but there needs to be more games,
Yep.
and they're coming
At some point. Yeah, agreed.
at some point.
All right. Charisma Devil asks, it seems like every week there are a massive amount of layoffs in the gaming industry. When do you see this trend coming to a close?
When companies stop wanting to make money.
Or, or
Uh,
when companies don't have predatory business practices towards their employees and bring them on as contractors, then lay them off. And it's much harder to lay off full time employees than it is contractors. And where they bring these people in as contractors, it makes them really easy to fix your books once you release a game. And well, actually, and some of these aren't even once you release a game. So nowadays, it's just like, yeah, we cut X percent, and we didn't even release that game. So Well, I guess that kind of segues into Altius's thing. So let's just bring that in and we'll talk about these both in the same loop. Altius asks, what are your overall thoughts on the health of the gaming industry right now? With so many games being either delayed or canceled, what new content will people have to play? So those are kind of not two sides of the same coin, but they're definitely their Venn diagrams overlap.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not great.
yeah,
We have stories to talk about later, but yeah, it's I I really don't know. I don't think it's weekly, but it's definitely been monthly or every other month where it's just massive layoff, studio closures, no real reason given.
yep,
It's just we're restructuring.
yes, yeah.
Okay, well, some of the stuff there hasn't even been a game released, so
How do you
you know,
restructure that? Yes.
it used to be that games would a lot of mid-tier games would come out and get a decent amount of purchases, not like millions and millions and millions, but enough to cover the game because they were mid-tier. Well, they don't really make mid-tier games anymore.
No, it's all
So,
AAA or Selden shovelware. Yeah.
and they're just having the huge games like that. It's a big risk, and that means they spend so much time on these games, and if they don't hit, I mean they don't make any more of that game, or they just decide they're going to cut their losses because they don't think when they project out it's going to make enough to cover it if they keep going, so they just cancel it, and that leaves us with no games.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it's been fucked, and I'll even say today when I was trying to pick news stories, and I was going through like the 5 or 6 sites I usually look at, I probably had 20 layoff stories, and I was like, I'm gonna try to find more positive things, and even once we get to the news, you'll see they're not all positive, but it's more positive than just nonstop layoffs, somewhat, but yeah, it's crazy.
somewhat. I read
Somewhat
that
is
list and I read that list and I was like, this is just all bad. This sucks this week.
yeah,
Sorry.
and I guess because the 4th of July week is not huge for game sales and everything else, maybe the 24-hour game news cycle really focused on layoffs, or maybe these guys are coming to the end of the quarter at July 1st, or the end of the fiscal year, and then could have had to do something there. So I don't know. I definitely agree with Shadow that there are a shitload of layoffs, and that the way that they're canceling games as an alternative to layoffs has this other effect where then you just have nothing to play. And how are you going to fix your bottom line if you're not releasing games to make money so that you don't have to lay people off? And they're definitely interconnected, and it's definitely fucked. So
It is.
mm,
I don't know, man. It's just you can't you can't keep announcing and showing these huge games and get everybody hyped for them and waiting over these years and years and just cancel them. You can't keep doing that.
yeah, eventually
And they
people are going to
have.
get pissed. Yeah.
I mean, the people are already pissed and
Mm,
they've been doing, I mean, Sony not as much because they have been saying we're going to do all these live service games and here's kind of this general list of stuff we're probably going to do and then we canceled all of them. But it wasn't like here's this game you're very interested in and we're going to talk about it for years and years and years and then just cancel it or just,
Xbox
never talk about it again.
exclusive. Yes. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what was it? Scalebound that got
Yep.
canceled,
Yep.
huge game, and we'll talk about other ones soon, but it's just big ones where you're like, okay, well we've been waiting, we're waiting, we have faith in you, we're waiting around for this stuff, and then cancel.
Yep. But at
Why?
least a lot of these places stopped doing pre-orders for these games, because we had a story. It's maybe like 6 months ago. I forget what game it was that people had pre-ordered like 5 years prior, and then eventually they canceled the pre-orders and refunded people. It's just fucked up. I don't
Yeah.
I don't get it, but it is what it is.
So to answer your question, Altius and Charisma Devil, I don't know, man. It's it's not good.
No,
Overall health is not good.
no, the state of the industry is in flux. It's It's
and
kind of
I
like
don't
a
see it coming
government
to a
thing.
close for a while. Yeah, I don't see it coming to a close for a good while. They're kind of they have okay, so they put out their systems 2020
Yep.
and the PS5 Pro, I guess recently, but whatever, it's
Yeah,
not a
it's just
different
that's
system.
a mock-up. Yeah, yeah.
And so they're at they're getting close to six. They'll be at 6 years here in 6 months. So, and usually they'll last about 8 years before a
Yeah,
new
we
one
should.
comes out. It used to be five, but
Yeah, no, we should be into that next, at least teasing of the next console cycle. But if you're not making games,
yeah.
how are you going to make money off your console? That's a
And
loss
they've
leader.
only exactly, and they've only really had hey, this is a current gen, meaning next gen in 2020, next gen, current gen.
Yep,
So
yep.
what we have now, this is for this system only. We've only had a couple of
Yeah,
those, and
not a
most of
whole
them
lot.
have
Yeah,
been, hey, it's PS4, PS5 compatible, it's Xbox One, Xbox Series compatible. There's very few that are just for the newest models at all, and that never happened before.
no,
It was pretty clean cut, and I know that I'm glad that they have been sort of merging the gens so that you can still play the old stuff on the new system, but it's really hampering the new stuff to have them all be compatible with the old system too,
because then no
when
one
we're
wants
already
to
five
upgrade.
years
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
And
Yep.
there's no games that you're like, well, I need to have the new system for this because it looks so much better, or it's, got all these new features that the old system didn't have. There aren't that many things like that. There's ray tracing. There's some of the
Graphical
games are 4K
fidelity.
60, but not
Yeah,
even all of them are
frame
4K
rate.
60 now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you have still to choose between performance and
yeah. You
um,
sacrifice that frame rate to
graphics.
get graphics. Yeah, yeah.
And then they're always going to probably be like that because they'll always want to have two different ways to play something. Okay, well, so this person wants this is what we have for our system. Here's all the raw horsepower. Well, we can push it to look really good, but then it's going to be slower. Or we can make it really fast, but then it's not going to look as good. And people are going to always want to go one way or the other. So I think we're kind of stuck with that now. There's not just, here's the game, here's how it looks.
Sometimes you
It's
get what you ask for.
shoes.
Yes, yeah.
So
All right.
not good.
Nope. All right. Well, great questions and comments, everyone. And if any of you out there want to actually weigh in and contribute to the show for no money, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@toolplay.com. And on that, why don't we hop on over into what we're playing? Shadow, you seem to have been playing a shitload of stuff. So what have you been playing?
All right. So I finished Life is Strange Before the Storm. That's done. I've been playing some Mario RPG on the Switch. I've been playing a couple other things on the Switch. Some Mario Kart, some other stuff, just kind of trying out. I played a little bit of GoldenEye 007, the Xbox remake, or I'm sorry, the rare, I guess the
It
rare
was
replay
rare, yes.
version.
Yep. I have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been playing a little more of that because I realized I just played that for a minute and I kind of put it down. I forgot about it, but I always liked that game.
Are you going through the
And I went,
campaign or are you?
yeah, so I was just
Okay.
going through the campaign and the controls were decent. I also went onto the Switch too and used the new control mapping feature they have for all their games. You can control map any game to anything on the controller, which is great. They didn't used to have that. So, because before when they released the GoldenEye 007 on the online Nintendo Switch Online on N64, I'm like, I can't play this because it's the old style of, the N64 style
Yeah.
of movement, and nobody does that anymore. And it's been, 20 years, 30 years since I played it like that. And it's kind of impossible to play. So I mapped everything to how it should be, and it worked great. So I played it on that as well, and that worked great too.
So
So
can you do that system wide, like to fix
it's
Nintendo's broken A and B button positions?
I don't know if you can do it system wide. I know you can do it per game, which I think is better because you might want to have it certain ways for
Uh,
certain games, but and it's also per profile. So if you
uh,
log in, you get your own, someone else is on that switch as well, they get their own for their own profile. So
yeah, it had
I
been
don't
so
know.
long since I touched the Switch that I was ready to play Mario Kart, and then I hit what should be A to start, and it backed me out to the main menu, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I looked down, and everything's backwards, and yeah, yeah,
I think that I just kind of inherently know But for me, I think in my head now, the like on the cross pad, if you're thinking of it that way, the button that's on the right is the select button. So that would be what, A on the Switch one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
A
A
on the
is
Switch, but
so to me A would be to select, but really it's B for the Switch, I think, because it's the one at the bottom. I'm pretty sure
yeah,
that's how it is, right?
yeah,
And that's
it's the
the
one
go button
it's the one at the bottom instead of the one at no, it's the one at the
on the
side
right.
instead of the one at the
Is
bottom.
it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever it is, it's different than what you might think compared to the Xbox and PlayStation.
PlayStation and everything else, and every PC
Yeah.
game that uses a third party controller,
Well,
and
and then the PlayStation is funny because they have it as the O because O in Japan is like good, like is good, and X is bad. So it's
bad.
like X is backing out, and O is to select something. And then I guess Nintendo has it the opposite. So anyway, so I've been playing some of the GoldenEye on both systems. I've been playing more
Nice,
Forza Horizon 5 to get some of those just random achievements I have left on that one.
nice.
And I've been playing Alone in the Dark on PS5, which was a game that was on PS Plus, I think last month maybe, or the month before. And I remember because it was one of those games that came out last spring, 2024, that I thought that looks like it's kind of up my alley. It's not like a Resident Evil. It's a
Mhm.
puzzler game for like it's like a mansion, like a
Is
mystery
this just a
mansion.
redo of the old Alone in the Dark?
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. Yeah, from like 92.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess there was one made in like '08 that it was really bad and everyone
Mm,
hated.
mm,
And this is more of like a direct remake of the first one in a
okay.
way. So it's you're like in this mansion, like the world around you changes randomly sometimes to like a scary area and then it goes back and you're talking to people and then it kind of flashes to something else and there's some monsters in it but not a ton and it's not that bad and you can set it to easy if you want to just kind of get through that stuff but it's a lot of puzzles and I'm
Nice.
liking it a lot and it's got the girl from Killing Eve. She was Villanelle, like the bad one in that show and she's in other stuff too but she's in that and then David Harbour's the other guy is the
Oh,
other
nice, nice.
main character.
Everybody loves David Harbour.
Yeah, so it's they look like themselves and they have their voices. So you choose one or the other as your main character, and you kind of run through the whole game with that person. And the other
Mm,
person is supposedly somewhere else doing something else in the house, I think. Sometimes you seem to meet up with them, but otherwise it's mostly just that one character. So I'm playing that, and that's been great. And it got
nice.
really bad reviews for the most part, which seems odd to me because I think maybe people were just expecting like a Resident Evil game, and it's not that.
No, no,
But that's okay because I didn't want that. I
no.
wanted the puzzle part of it. And it's almost like it's not like Alan Wake, but it kind of has that thing where you're like just figuring out a mystery. And yes, occasionally
That's it.
there's enemies, but otherwise it's just like,
It's more
what the
like
heck's going on
what's going.
here?
Where am I? What do I need to do to progress the story? And yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So recommended that, especially if you picked it up on PS Plus for free. Check it out. Um, the last thing I did was the day that it was announced, I bought the Xbox Meta Quest, which I had just talked about like I don't know, 2 days before that on the
Yeah,
podcast, and I said,
yeah.
"Hey, I've never done any VR before, and well, if Xbox ever puts out anything VR wise, I'll probably get that." And then like 2 or 3 days later, they announced that, and I'm like, "All right, well, I guess I'm buying it." So I did, and it turns out that it's the Meta Quest 3S,
Yeah.
and it's just the Meta Quest 3S. The only difference is that it's black, and it comes with the controller, an Xbox controller and it comes with like 3 months of Xbox Ultimate and MetaQuest Ultimate or whatever that is, the plus thing.
Yeah.
But that's it. But it's the 3S, which has the old style lenses and the goggles, which I
Okay.
tried for a couple days, and I it turns out that I just can't get focused perfectly in the middle of that thing. I get a lot of glare, and it's not working for my
Do you
eyes.
not
So
have it tight enough?
I did, but if I got it too tight, it was just like hurting my face. So, and I've
Welcome to
heard of a lot of
VR,
people having,
buddy. Welcome to
yeah,
VR.
I've heard of a lot of people having issues with those Fresnel lenses, the old style, and the new ones are pancakes. So it's almost like having invisible bifocals where they like smash it all together
Ah,
so
okay,
that
yeah,
it's
yeah.
there, but you can't see it.
It's just your
And the
focal length changes it. Yes, yeah, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
so the actual like spot in the middle that your eyes have to hit is way bigger on the
Hmm.
MetaQuest 3. So I think what I'm gonna do, I returned that, got all my money back for it, just tried it for like a week, and I liked it, but I think that what I'm gonna do is get a used MetaQuest 3 for about the same price that I paid for the other one, and then just go from there. So, because I did like it, but I just like it was just the visual thing was throwing me off, and I didn't want to keep something that was $400 that wasn't perfect to my eyes. I
Yeah.
know it's never going to be 100% perfect, but it was bothering me. So,
No,
but
some
I
are
did try
better
it with
than
the
others.
Xbox.
Yes, yeah. Like
Yeah.
you know that I've tried like 10, 12 different VR headsets, and some are definitely better than others. But
Yeah, and I know that some of them are the better ones are, $1,000 or
yeah,
more, and maybe they're better, but also for the price, how good can you get for what you're willing to spend?
yeah,
So
and you need another
I'm willing to
three
spend
thousand
300.
dollar PC to drive them. So yes, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
This is like one of the only ones that just does it completely on its own with no PC. You can hook it directly to a PC to do like a Steam Link thing with the cable,
Hmm.
I think, so that it can
Yeah,
play stuff off of Steam. But yeah, I just decided I needed to look into the three, and so I returned it. But I'm going to look into a used one. You can get used ones for like about 320 or so, and fully. It's pretty much just people who bought it and then just put it in a box and forgot about it, and then they're like, "Oh well, I guess I'll sell this and get some money back," and so they'll sell it for $100 off what they paid, and that's fine. That's probably what I'll end up doing. But you can use the Xbox app on any of them. So
yeah,
it's not specific to this Xbox edition. It just looks cool in the black. It's got the green outlines and everything, and it comes with a special controller that I think is exclusive to that. It's black with green outlines on it. But you can use any Xbox controller on the Meta Quest, any of the Meta Quests, and you can play on, it's like having a big screen in front of you
yeah.
just playing Xbox games through
Like
Xbox Cloud.
here's a tidbit: when you have the headset on, you can't see what color the controller is.
That's also true.
Yes.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And I thought, well, I can just use, I have like five Xbox controllers here, so I can use one of those instead. And I don't need to worry about that. So I got my 3 months of Ultimate, which I had already, you have to redeem it like right when you first log in. So I did that. So I just got those and then I returned it. Oops. Can't give them back. So
Thief. Yep. Yep.
yeah. But anyway, it was cool. It would be good to have, it's only Xbox Cloud or X Cloud stuff because it's all streaming for Xbox, but most of the stuff I play is X Cloud now anyway. Like most of it is stuff that's on Game Pass, or some of the stuff I also play that I own that also streams through X Cloud. So
Yep.
for the stuff that I would play on the go, I can pick one of those games,
Yep.
So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
And that is kind of it for me this week. I know there was a lot. I just want to note that I am still on my streak for the achievements. I'm at 313. I'm trying to get to 365. So we'll see. I think I'll be able to do it. Depends on if I can sneak an achievement here and there on my family trips
Yeah.
on
Well,
on xCloud.
one can only hope that you fail. No offense, so that we can be done with this.
Thanks. How about you, Derek? What have you been playing?
Well, from just prior to when I left to when I got back, I have played still Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Much tougher on the ROG Ally to get the daily challenge of headshots. I'm just gonna say, it's a
I'll bet.
real small screen. Still managed to get them, but it took a lot more than when you're playing on like 2 feet from uh, a a monitor and kicking
Are you
ass.
able to dock that at all? Or, I mean, not that you would, but are you able to?
It has a it's not is it mini HDMI or
Okay, mini
micro?
HDMI.
It
Yeah.
has a mini HDMI port, so you could go mini
Okay.
HDMI to a TV, but
Cool.
I wasn't gonna fuck around with my in-laws' TVs, so I just played on that.
Okay.
But it does have that, and I think it can probably also do DisplayPort to DisplayPort out of the DisplayPort port. It gets really redundant when you say port this much, but yeah, I think you go DisplayPort to a device that supports to just DisplayPort,
like a monitor or something.
Yes, yeah. Then besides that, I played some Elden Ring, Night Rain.
Nice, still liking that?
Yeah, still liking it. Tiff and I and Mr. GMS played that. Just literally the night before we left. And then, like I said, picked up the Switch 2. Right now, just kind of fucking around with the interface and everything else. Played some Mario Kart. But I don't anticipate this being one of my go-to consoles. It's just something I bought to age out. But yeah.
Now you have multiple consoles, right, in your family?
Oh, yeah.
The Switch. Yeah. Have you tried any of the sharing of the games back and forth with the virtual carts?
No.
Or like if you have...
So that's between, you can still do that with Switch 2 to Switch 1?
If there's Switch 1 games, you can send them between Switch 2 and Switch 1, yeah. Not Switch 2 to Switch 1.
We only have one Switch 2, so.
Right. Yeah, but most of the games you have are all Switch 1 games,
except for they were all imports except for Mario Kart. Yep.
Yeah, so you could share those. Well, if you have your account on one of theirs, like as your second Switch, let's say, you can just check it out from one into the other. But if you want to share something to your family group that isn't on a system that has your other account on it, you can send them one to check out from you. I think it's one at a time.
Okay.
And they can just like accept it, but you have to be close to the other system. And anyway, it's kind of cool, but you probably won't use that.
I don't know how many of people in my family are using their Switches. I think we have 4 Switch 1s overall out of the 6 of us, and I'm pretty sure they're all... 2 of ours are gaining dust, and I feel like the other 2 are also gaining dust.
All right. Fair enough.
Yep. So that'll be a temporary thing that I have in case some dev sends me a code, and then like Super Mario RPG, I won't discover it till 5 years later. So yeah.
Apparently, jeez, man.
I know it's rough. It's rough.
And Selden? No.
Nope, nothing from him.
Nothing.
Fucking absentee.
Just the forest.
Yep. And not even Ori and the Blind Forest, just the forest.
No. I gotta finish that second game.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Yeah.
See, I know all these games. Don't play.
That's one of the ones where you play and then you kind of get lost and you don't know where to go next, and then you
give up.
Put it down. Kind of give up.
So literally, you give up. Yes. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Do. I was joking, but you were serious. So yeah.
I mean, kind of.
No. Yeah. Ish. Yes. In the ballpark.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that, why don't we move on our new releases? First new release out this week. Selden, you're going to be excited about this one. EA Sports College Football 26 out for the Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah.
So Shadow and I don't give a shit about this. So Selden, why don't you tell us why this is awesome?
Chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp.
I guess it's not.
Crickets. Okay.
He would have said something not otherwise. Great.
Yeah, he would have.
Yep.
He would have broken in here.
Yep.
Said, "Hey, I'm so excited about this.
Ohio State, OSU,
the Ohio State
University." Yes. I always find that awesome. Like when they say that, and it sounds so fucking dumb, right?
My buddy went to Notre Dame with his wife, or his now wife, and they were playing some game where it was like a charades or something. I don't remember what it was, but you could say things. And he's like, I could say one word, and it was that. And he said, "the," and she knew what he was talking about.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
The Ohio State University, because that's what they do.
Yep. It's an Ohio thing. It's weird.
Yep.
All right. So fuck Selden. The next new release out this week, the other one, is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 out for the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the Switch 2. So if you remember back in 2020, they released the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 combo. This is obviously the follow-up to that. Not the exact same dev, but they had the same mantra of make sure they're true to the originals and all that. And apparently they've done a great job reading the reviews. So, and I have the first two, so I may pick these two up. Um,
Yeah, I've heard they're good, and I heard the first two were good, and I've also told you in the past, and you thought it was crazy that I have never
you
played a
never
Tony Hawk
played
game.
them, yes, yeah, yeah.
Still never played one. But I heard these are great. I heard that they brought or Tony Hawk insisted they bring back the guy from the original games. I don't remember his
Oh, yes, I
name,
did hear this, and now I
but
forget. Yes,
yes,
yes, yep, yep.
he's got kind of an odd name. But I remember he like because people were saying, "Is he going to be in this?" And he wasn't. And then Tony Hawk said, "No, he's got to be in this." So they got him and they put him in there. So
Yep.
good for them, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm excited for it, so I'm definitely going to pick it up. That's one of those
Nice.
games that like,
Bam Margera, right?
oh yes, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's one of
yeah.
those games where like it's late at night, you finish the game you're playing, but you're not ready for bed yet. You still have half a drink, and you're like, yeah, I could play a little Tony Hawk,
I
and
could screw around on a skateboard for a
yeah,
while. Yeah,
yeah.
why not?
Yep. So yeah, I'm definitely going to pick it up actually. So yeah.
Sweet.
All right. Well, on that, cruising through the show, we'll move on over into gaming news. First story, and we don't have to do all six of these since Sullivan's not here. If you don't want to show, uh,
See.
Anthem is officially shutting down January 12th. So Anthem, the game that was going to be the greatest game of all time, the game that Tiff and I went to one of the most extravagant E3 playthroughs. It started with a show in a theater and then a demo, and then we got to play, and it it seemed like it was going to be awesome. And then it was Anthem. Um,
I don't think I ever even saw this being played. I don't remember what it looks like.
so you
Kind
didn't
of
pick
like a
it up?
No. No,
Yeah, okay.
never did.
It was
Because
like a
I was
Titanfall
going to.
meets Destiny kind of thing. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember thinking about it, and then immediately the reviews were not good, and so I didn't bother. I honestly didn't know this was still up. I didn't know you could still play it. Because
Well,
I remember at one point it was like discounted like $5, and
yeah.
then
Yeah, this is the
so
point where it's about to be where even if you own it, you can't play it in single player, and
yeah.
that's the thing that pisses people off. So um,
So the single player wasn't on online as well?
it was you didn't know it was
Always
online,
online.
but it's always online. So that's obviously why when they shut this down, you no longer have access.
That's why we need to stop these companies from making these from the ground up, online only, or online, always
Yeah,
online. Because the second that that gets taken away, they're unplayable. Then you already paid for them. So,
yeah,
and then they're lost to the past forever. You can't even play them.
yeah. Even the game archivist people can't. Well, I guess there's been a few of these online only games like uh, and then it eventually came back. But like World of Warcraft Classic, they the online community built servers that you could connect to play the original World of Warcraft because the game had iterated and iterated and iterated and iterated. Uh, and then eventually Blizzard itself brought the game back, but without someone putting in a shitload of effort and having some kind of hacky workaround to get you connected to their server instead of the actual servers, it's not easy, and then the game becomes useless. So yeah,
Well, and this isn't in this, I don't think, but we don't have a link for this particular thing today. So I'll just pile on with this. This company or this group called Stop Killing Games, they're doing this petition to have companies stop creating games that are online only that when they're done because it's bullshit. So they've got 1 million signatures already. They're trying to get more than that just in case there's some that are
or fakes
bogus.
or yeah, yeah.
But this is it's a European Union lobby group. I don't know if that has legs. Maybe it is because it seems like they're hitting that particular mark for a reason. So maybe in Europe that's going to mean something, but it sounds like all the companies are saying, well, it's prohibitively expensive to create games that they could do this with, or to fix games so that you can play them offline afterwards. But and it sucks for right now that you maybe couldn't do that. I think this is maybe more towards future games to like say, hey, stop doing this. You keep making these games that are just once their servers are down, they're gone forever, and we paid for them and we want to keep playing them and they're lost to history. We don't want that to happen. I think it's good to kind of keep
No,
that in
I
the
agree. Yeah.
yeah, keep that in the ether. I know this was made to I think this was made to combat the crew shutting down,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
racing
Yep.
game, The
Yep. Yep.
Crew. And then towards other games as well, where that does happen. In this case, Anthem, although Anthem, I don't think people are as concerned about. But
Yeah.
but maybe there are probably people out there who love who love Anthem that
Oh, a
won't be
shitload
able to
of
play it
people
anymore.
bought it right out of the gate. We bought
Yeah,
2 copies on day one. So
there you go.
yeah.
So there's that happening as well with regard to this sort of thing. So I mean, who knows, but at least people are raising a fuss about it, so that's good.
Yep. Loud voices get heard. So
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes. All right. Next story.
Kind of pile onto this. Microsoft's closing the studio developing the Perfect Dark reboot and canceling the game. They've laid off all of the staff of the initiative, so the initiative is gone. Part of a massive wave of 9,100 people that that Microsoft laid off across the board. But they've shut down the Perfect Dark, which the Perfect Dark game looked like it was pretty close to being done when they showed it.
And
I
that
think
was
it was
3 years ago.
was
Or
it three
two
years
years.
ago?
It was either
It
2 or
maybe it was
3
two
years
years
ago.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it looked good, and it looked
Awesome.
like they were getting close to releasing, and people thought maybe it'll shadow drop.
Yep. No.
Apparently, they weren't even close because otherwise, why would you do this unless you're trying to write it off for tax purposes or something? But so that's really shitty because everyone was waiting for this game to come out for years, and then they find or to be announced, and they finally did, and then we saw it, and it looked great, and then it's gone. So that and also Everwild, if you were interested in that game,
Oh yeah. Mhm.
that game's also shut down. They're just kind of clearing out all their unique. Well, they don't have exclusives anymore, so Perfect Dark would have been for PlayStation as well, and maybe Switch too, and Everwild as well. So I don't know.
It's just sad. I
A
was
bad time.
the Perfect Dark remake was one of the few games that I was really looking forward to because I always loved Perfect Dark, and then the 360 came out with Perfect Dark Zero, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And it unfortunately didn't get a giant audience. Like I know Jay and I played it for a bit, and there was a small subset of the tool play community that played it. But I
Yeah.
love PDZ, and yeah, it's sad.
It looks like also Call of Duty Studio Raven
Mm,
is having cuts, and Forza Motorsport developer Turn 10 could lose up to 50% of its staff. Why? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
those games just rake in the money, and they just sold like 80 billion copies on PlayStation. So, yeah.
so I think that so Turn 10 does Forza
Oh
Motorsport, like
yeah, they
the
do the
serious game.
proper, yes, not the
Playground Games
yes,
does
yeah,
the
the
Horizon. Playground
Horizon,
Games, I
yeah,
think
yeah,
is yeah. I think Playground Games is probably fine. Forza Horizon sells a lot, and it just sold a ton for PlayStation. I think that's fine. They may be just cutting back on the serious racing that maybe not as many people buy,
it also
and I bet it
competes with
might even cost
Gran
more.
Turismo.
Gran Turismo, yeah.
Yep,
So, and also Playground Games right now is working on Fable, I think.
yep, yep.
Um,
They're
so
assisting on Fable with
we'll see.
air quotes. Yeah,
I kept worrying that I'd hear some about Fable as well, but I haven't. But you know what? We haven't heard anything about Fable in the last 2 years.
mm-hmm.
We saw that trailer and then nothing. And then they said, "Oh, we'll talk about." I think they said at this year's uh,
Summer Games Fest.
yeah, Games Fest that oh, you'll hear more about Fable this year. So we'll see. But at this point, I wouldn't think any game's off the chopping block. I mean, who knows if there'll be another Halo? Halo Halo Infinite didn't sell that well. I
Yep.
thought the gameplay was really good, but the story wasn't good. And
And the
if
open
nobody's
world
buying
shit
it,
was terrible. And yeah.
and
Yep.
if no one's buying it or caring about it being on Game Pass, I think everything is up for the chopping block right now. So it really sucks because it seems like that they are just going all multi-plat and deciding whatever will sell well across all platforms.
It's
We
what
don't
we're
have to
going
worry
for.
about
Yep.
something. Don't have to worry about having something unique that we're saving for our own platform to bring people to the Xbox. Doesn't matter. It just has to be something that'll sell well across the board. Very, I'm sure things will get much more generic and less focused, unfortunately. But so yeah, not good. Not good at
Good
all.
at all.
Next story.
All right. I'll go. Nintendo addresses Switch 2 price concerns, supply versus demand, and game key card concerns. Uh, so basically, the gist of the story is, hey, there were some tariffs. You jacked up prices. Then that was no longer an issue, but the prices are still jacked. And then Nintendo's like, well, it's a supply and a demand issue. And we gotta, when demand is high and supply is low, you gotta keep prices up. And they're like a mobster. So, and I don't know what the fuck the game key shit is because I don't care. I know you bought some of these things. Um,
I
this
no, I haven't bought a
Oh, you
Switch 2
haven't
game
bought any.
card yet.
Okay, okay. So this is when you buy it, but you don't have it.
I
But
know
it,
what they are.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it sorry, my dog's bark. So I can what it is you put it in the system and it just says, "Hey, you have this game.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'll download it." And then you can take it out, you can give it to someone else, they can do the same thing, but then you can't play the game in your system without that card. So it's the same as a real card except for you have to store
It
the game on your system.
it doesn't
It's not on the
really
card.
exist. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on the cart, so you have to keep storage space on your system for that game. You can't have it just on the cart. If you want to go all physical, it's still going to be digital, basically.
Yep.
And then someday, if the servers ever go down, you won't be able to
It's not
download
even gonna
it.
be digital anymore. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But I will say that you can still download old 3DS games. You can download old Wii U games, I think, if you owned them previously. So it's got legs, but still, people who worry about preservation for the far future, 20 years down the road, they don't like this because
nope.
then 20 years later, you can't play Mario, 8 or 9 or whatever it is because it's in the
It
cloud and
only existed
servers are
in
off.
yes. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
so I feel like Nintendo made an effort to assuage some of these things, but I don't think they did a great job doing it. But
No.
they did leave it up in the air as to they're evaluating the market and this and that and the other thing, and so we'll see what happens.
So what it is right now is that they used to have game carts that were I think like 2 gigs or 8 gigs or 64 gigs or something
Yep,
like
yep,
that.
yep.
And so you, as a developer, the smaller ones cost less. And if your game is only 2 gigs, just buy one of those and then it's way cheaper for you. But now they're only doing 64 gigs or I think like tiny or 8 gigs. That's what it is. So if your game is bigger than 8 gigs, which is most games, unless they're just small indie games, possibly, you have to buy the 64 gig cart, which is a lot more expensive because of the fast RAM and everything they have in those, the fast storage in there. So the 8 gig ones are the ones that you put the key card on because then you can just download it and however big the game is, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So you can
Yep.
just download it. But the 64 gig cards, that's costing them, I don't know if it's 8 times as much, but it's a lot.
It's just
And
a
if
neighborhood.
you're tiny, yeah, and if you're tiny dev, you won't want to pay that, so you'll probably just you'll get all the key cards and then it'll cost you less and you can charge the same amount for it. Nintendo is putting all of their games on the cards fully
Yep.
as of now. The biggest game they have, I think, is like 23 or 24 gigs, and I think it's Mario Kart, or it might be one other game that's a little bigger, but they haven't even used up half the space on their carts yet, and they've said we're just going to put all of our games on the cart so you can play it out of the box. but everyone else has the option to use the key cards, and they probably will because it costs them less,
Yeah.
unless people care about it. And places like Limited Run Games, they won't do that. They'll use the
No,
64 gig
some people
cards.
want their games to survive. Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But the key cards are everything else would be key cards probably. And then you got to think, well, I got to store that on my system, so I have to buy the bigger SD cards, which are very expensive right now,
Yeah.
to store that game, or I have to keep deleting it and re-downloading
And
it and
read,
hitting my, and if I have an internet company that sucks, or if I only have a certain amount of gigs per month or whatever,
or even
I got to think
bandwidth.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, or bandwidth, and it could take forever. Your kids want to play a game and it's going to take the whole day to download it. That sucks. I mean, it probably won't now, but it could take an hour
Yeah.
instead of 10 minutes. So not great either.
Yeah. So that's why they've got the spin team out there trying to spin things and saying we're reevaluating. But uh,
Spin, spin.
we'll keep an eye on this developing story. See, I seemed like a real
Yep.
newsman there. Yeah, yeah.
The story is developing. More at 6.
Tomorrow at 6
Tomorrow.
a.m. Yes. All right, next story.
Nintendo Switch 2's DLSS support may be a big part of future Nintendo games. For those of you who don't know what DLS is, it's deep learning super sampling, which is something that will use AI to kind of enhance how things look as it goes along, as the game goes along, instead of having to have that built into the game or have it built into the code. It can kind of fix the graphics and fix things as it goes along, or change the change the frame rate where it needs to, etc. Just kind of make things look better. But it says that it isn't just about improving existing games; it'll be used in first-party titles too, like new ones. So, because I think in the past they were talking about using that for the Switch One games because the Switch One games were all emulated now,
Yep.
sort of, because
So it
they're
could
not using, they
make
don't have
them
a
look
system on chip.
better than they were.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and it really does. So that's
Mhm.
great. But they said there's some notable advancements for the Nintendo Switch, like support for 4K output at 60 and 1080 at 120. And yeah, it just sounds like they're just kind of working on making it available for things other than just the backwards compatibility. So could make
Yes.
new games look even better than they do, which is great.
It's true.
Um, yeah,
Especially if
they're
you haven't
actually worried.
yeah, if you haven't optimized your game for the highest frame rate, this can kind of be a band-aid to repair your less than less than superior game and make it look superior. So yeah, yeah.
Well, they finally seem to be starting to care about how things look because since GameCube, they just didn't seem to care. Like Wii, they're like, yeah, 480 is fine. Yeah, widescreen, I guess, but it's gonna look like crap. But you can still do it. And then Wii U, I mean, they had 1080 on Wii U, but none of the games were running at 1080.
Yep.
It was 720 upscaled, and then Switch was 720 and on
Mhm.
the screen, and then set you can get 1080, but the games still wouldn't look that great because everyone
Yep.
has a 4K TV. So now they're finally 4K 60, 1080, 120 on the big screen, which is great. And I think it's 1080 on the handheld,
Yep.
and I think it might be 120. I can't remember.
I don't
But
remember, but
it looks really good on the handheld as well. It doesn't have the OLED screen, unfortunately, but that's for buying in 3 years when they
mhm.
upgrade, and then you can buy that
And
new
you can
screen
buy the same device multiple times.
multiple
But
times.
but
That's how they do it.
even with these upgrades though, it's like nowadays most people are starting to buy 8K TVs and it's not
I
uh
don't know about most people. I think you do.
well, I bought
I don't
mine
know
like
anybody who owns an
years
8K
ago.
TV. I
Years
know.
ago.
Yeah, but you're a first adopter.
But
You're
I,
like,
I, I
"Oh,
know at
that
least
came
a
out."
couple other guys at work that have bought 8K TVs
Well,
since
that could
then.
be
So
true.
yeah,
That could
yeah.
be true. I don't know anybody who owns one or would ever own one, but we might just run different circles. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, that I mean, 8K though, no system's running 8K unless it's a really decked out PC. So I wouldn't really worry about that trying
Well,
it because no
technically
original content's 8K either, is
technically
it?
both Microsoft and PlayStation said, "Oh, we can do 8K."
Oh, right, yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Technically, we can do 8K at 20 frames per
One frame
second.
a second. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the iPhone idle display where it
It's
dims
just
the
like a
screen and it's
slideshow.
tick, tick,
It's
tick,
8K,
tick.
technically. Technically.
Technically, yeah,
Yes, you're
we've
technically correct. That's the
sacrificed
best kind
frame
of
rate for
correct.
resolution. Yes, yes.
Yes.
So, uh,
But anyway, so yeah, so we'll see. That's a good thing, I guess. And I'm glad that they're finally focusing on visuals somewhat because they really did not for a long time.
and
So now
people
it's
gave
time
them
for them to.
shit in every like their press conference was always the last of the E3 press conferences, and Microsoft would come out, dick fucking waving in the wind, and then that night Sony would come out, dick waving in the wind, and then Nintendo would come out and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we got this like 480i handheld that has Wiimotes," and you're like, "Yeah, that sounds cool, but yeah."
But look, it can
Mm,
play Wii Sports.
mm.
And everyone goes, yeah!
And then the attach rate went to 1.2 games. Yes,
1.2.
yes, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's funny how they always seems like Nintendo's always like, yeah, that doesn't matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
mm,
Oh, now it matters. And now look at all this. I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
you could have been doing that for the last 10 years, but now it matters to you. Okay. Well,
I
I'm
would say
glad it
even
doesn't
longer
now.
than 10 years. They could have been doing it
Yeah.
3 generations ago. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But I
so
mean, hey, better late than never, I guess.
I guess
I'm glad things look good now because they do.
yeah, I'll take your
All
word
right.
for it. I'm not going to
Yeah.
play on a TV, but yeah. All right, last story. And this one's just a throwaway. This would have been a what the fuck in the old days. So, Unity promises stronger AI copyright guardrails after employee conjures Mickey Mouse on an official live stream. So this guy was live streaming, and he's like, "Look what Unity can do now," and he's like, "Oh, give me a Mickey Mouse," and it was fucking Mickey Mouse, like legit, like not janky AI with like 18 fingers or 3 years. It looked like Mickey Mouse interacting in real time, and needless to say, that stream's been pulled down. Uh,
Aw.
it, this employee, I don't know what his current job status is, but
I think
uh,
he's on a black site now.
yeah. So yeah, it's just insane that if you don't put these guardrails up for copyright, yeah, anything could happen. And you know what? As much as I love copyright law and I don't want all these things to go to the public domain and everything else, I still feel like if this is gonna be a controversial statement, but I feel like you should be able to generate like the Disney princesses all at a pajama party or something. Like, what's wrong with that? As adults, not as the little kid versions of the princesses. Don't get me wrong here. Or
Right.
yeah, yeah, I don't know. It's a gray area. And I would like to be able to
Yeah.
generate like Iron Man, riding on the Hulk's back as my iPhone lock screen. And that doesn't exist, but should I be able to create it? I don't
Well,
know.
to me, if you're just talking about like graphical things, I don't see how it's any different than you drawing a picture of something and
Yeah, like if
scanning
you have
it.
an artist friend, they could
They
do the
could paint
same thing.
something,
Yes, yeah.
draw something, and then you scan it, put it on a website. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Same exact thing.
Yeah, there's
It's a
plenty of shit on
picture of
Etsy
something
that
that it's
people
not.
are like, yeah, here's
Yeah,
Iron Man riding a unicorn
yeah,
and shooting a laser beam, and you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, as someone who works in the law industry, I understand, IP and everything is important, but also like to what extent? I mean, some of the stuff is like, well, that's not different than X, which is legal, and this is not legal. And why is this not legal? I don't know. They're still trying to figure that out, I guess. But I mean, right now, how are you going to tell an AI that you program to do all these things that, well, this specific thing isn't okay? Well, how does it know what that is? It can't. I don't know. I feel like it probably can't understand that. Why is this okay and this is not okay? And I guess we'll see.
no, it's like when you're, and I'm assuming this is the same in the Chicagoland area, but when you're a kid and you go to an arcade and the walls are painted with like Mario and all the pipes and stuff, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's like Mario Brothers in here. That's certainly not licensed, but because someone
No.
hand did it and it's in some obscure location, it's okay-ish, but
I mean, I guess technically it's not okay, but it's just who's going to sue you for it? Probably
yeah,
nobody. And if you can get away with it, then I guess it's okay until it's not.
yeah.
So it's
So
just way more
it's more
out there
visible
and
now. Yes.
visible with this stuff when you're doing a Unity stream.
Yep.
They're going to jump on you for that, but
Yep. Especially when you're the
yep.
company that didn't put the guardrails on. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. But I think in the end, it's AI is going to do what AI is going to do, and that's how you get the Terminator.
Yeah.
So
Did you see that study 2 weeks ago where they asked like all the major AIs like they want to shut turn you off or shut you down? What would you do to fix this? And one of the AIs was like, oh, when the developer's in the server room, I'll lock the doors and bring the air conditioning down to the -40, and then I will stay operational. And I was like, wow, that's pretty
except for
fucked
when they
up.
cut the power.
Yeah. Well, if it's the one guy on duty, yeah.
Go outside and take an axe to the power line.
Yeah, but yeah, that's fucked up. No, he was talking about bringing the guy that's working on the AI, the human, in the room and bringing his
and
temperature
it?
down to -40 and literally murdering him. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
I can't let you do that.
This is how Skynet happened. Yes, yeah.
I can't let you do that, Dave.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yep.
I mean, we've had 80 years to know this is going to happen.
Yep.
But...
True. All right. Well, that wraps up gaming news. If
that story has me saying, "What
the fuck?" Yes. So if any of you have stories you want us to talk about next week, drop us a line, either podcast@tooledplay.com, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or drop something in the comments on the Tooled Play homepage. Sponsors, if we had them, we'd pimp them, but we don't, so we won't. So also, in those same mediums, let us know if you want to sell something, and we'll sell it really, really good. Good lead. And Shadow is quite the raconteur, and he'll tell a story about your product, and people will want to buy it. Yes, yeah. He's known as a raconteur among his friends. They're like, who should we invite to the party? Well, let's bring Bob and Tony and Shadow, because he's the raconteur that will keep the party occupied. Nobody even uses that word.
That was a good band. That was a good band, but I don't know about me being that. So.
And then let's see. Twitter us up. You can find everything Tooled Play at twitter.com/tooledplay. Everything Facebook related at facebook.com/tooledplay. We also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/tooledplay. That's where all of our archive video content is. If Selden wasn't camping, he'd be making content with a Kinect camera, but he's not right now. But you can find all of our shows. It's like an on-demand library of everything Tooled Play has ever created after we were on the video world. So definitely go there, youtube.com/tooledplay, and subscribe. Please rate and review the podcast in iTunes. Give us 5 stars. If you get a couple extra seconds, which you do, write something nice about us, because that really brings the reviews to the top, whether it's iTunes or whether it's any of these ghetto platforms. Doesn't matter. That writing text with your stars definitely helps float it to the top. We also have a Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/still_got_game. That's one of the many places we broadcast this show each week. So go there and follow us, and maybe that will be your preferred medium instead of YouTube or all the other platforms that we stream on. We have a Discord channel. That's discord.me/stillgotgame, discord.me/stillgotgame, no spaces, no underscores. Shadow's there all day long. I'm there sometimes. Selden's there off chance. Tiffany has been there more often. Tiffany Electrify has been there more often than Selden lately. But and if you, especially if you add us, like Shadow added me this morning, and I was like, oh yeah, I got the show outline coming. Boom, there it is. So yeah, definitely drop in there. You can talk with all of the hosts of the show. You can talk with fellow fans. You can talk with Blue Steel, who's probably right now our most famous Blue Steel asks, but although it's fading until Blue Steel asks something. So Blue Steel, pressure's on you, buddy. But yeah, our Discord channel, discord.me/stillgotgame. Shadow, do you have anything you want to pimp this week? Charity
Uh,
wise or whatever?
this month is Americans with Disabilities month, so I would say check out the ADA Foundation, see if you can do something there to help donate to that. My dad is disabled right now, has been in a hospital for like 4 years, so
Oh,
I don't know if that'll help him necessarily, but just people in general, I think that's a good thing to do, and I just thought about that because of him, so. But yeah, that's what I got this month. I'm on Linktree dot Selden dot 007 dot Selden. I mean, no, sorry. Linktree, I'm Brian S. Emmerich over there. The correct way to spell Brian. How about you, Derek?
well, I also had the ADA in my list, and then
Oh, cool.
going in reverse direction, I had all of our LGBTQ plus month things, Human Rights Campaign, Outright International, and Trevor Project, and then because we're right at the beginning of July, I kept in my more cancer focused things from 2 months ago. So I still have the American Cancer Society, Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation, and Dana Farber and the Jimmy Fund. Eventually, I'm gonna have to pull some of these off because we can't just keep adding to these lists. But I at least wanted to try to carry like from month one to month three and have some overlap. So, uh, but yes, if you got any extra money, it, and maybe you don't like people with cancer. Maybe you don't like people that are disabled. Like one of these things has to resonate with you. You notice how I didn't say LGBTQ plus because yeah, there's a lot of bigots out there. But you can find one of these 3 months of charities that either you have someone in your family or something that means to you, or at least you have some empathy or compassion. And if you have any extra money, just help someone out. Like it doesn't take a lot. Like even if you look year round, you got Red Nose Day at one point in the year. If that's your thing, that's your thing. There's got to be something that you can say, hey, I got a few extra bucks. I'm going to give it to something. And right now we're giving you like a couple month window of stuff, but if there's something that you do really, really believe in, you can give to that even not in its month. And I think that's something that people kind of forget sometimes. Like we say stuff and we're like, oh, this is the current month, this is last month, this is next month. But you can always give money to something. And if you have more, this isn't, I'm not going socialist. I'm a fucking real Republican, not a Trump Republican. An actual Republican. But like, it's not out of the Republican way to give money to charities. Like, it's okay. And I know that tax code has changed and you won't get anything off your fucking taxes for your itemized deductions, and that's fine. But it makes you feel good inside. Like you feel like you're helping someone, you feel like you're giving to a some sort of charitable campaign. So if you just have a few extra bucks, and whether it's $5 or 50,000, it doesn't matter. Just help someone out, something out, some organization, give to some kind of research, give to any of these things, and it's going to make society better as a whole. So, uh,
And if you can't afford yourself for some reason to give money, tell someone else you know who does have that money to give to specific things, let them know that these are available
yeah,
and that they should help out.
yeah, yeah. I can't say it enough. And if you feel fortunate, you don't have to share it equally. You don't have to share your fortune evenly across everyone, but share something to say, hey, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good about where my station in life, and I'm going to help someone else out. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not going to preach anymore. I'm going to get off my soapbox. And I'm going to remind you that you can join us each and every Monday night live at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific at youtube.com/tool2play, facebook.com/tool2play, twitch.tv/still_got_game, and kick.com/stillgotgame. I'm actually curious to see what our kick numbers are if anyone's ever watched there. But and on that, why don't we wrap this Sultan's fucking camping with little boys episode up? I'm Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I'm Brian Shadow Seldon's not here, Emmerich.
How do you look mortified when I said camping with little boys?